just
what?
flowing. But you tell your story, and it comes and it flows because it's real for you. What would you say to some of these healers that are on here right now that are like, my story isn't scary enough, or my story is too scary to share on social media? What would you say to them?
Well, people are going to judge you no matter what. And I think fear
Mm.
of judgment is the greatest fear we have because I got listed on my board. I'm like trying to write my next book, and it takes me way too long. I've got fear of the unknown, offending, messing up, not knowing enough, FOMO, responsibility, success, inadequacy, failure, all of these things. And all of those, if you took away the fear of judgment, it literally takes away all of those right there. So I'm like trying to put this together for this next book focusing on
Oh,
fears and network
I I
marketing.
need I need this book. Yes.
We all need, right? I'm like, even
Yeah.
for me, I'm always trying to grow and develop in that. But you take away the fear of judgment and it's gone. So you're going to be judged. You're going to be judged that your story is way too dramatic. I mean, I just introduced Rachel Hollis, right? Girl, Wash Your Face. And I would tell you about 80% of people tell me that she's one of their favorites, and 20% tell me that they can't stand her. So, I mean, and she's number one right now as far as top female. She's charging $100,000 per speech, 100,000, and she had 40 that she booked out, and she booked them out like that. So you're
Mm.
going to be judged no matter what. You're going to be judged because you're too dramatic. You're going to be judged because you're too boring. You're going to be judged because you're too energetic. You're going to be judged because you're too introverted like me, and how dare Rob teach network marketing and then he wears sunglasses and a hoodie and headphones and won't make eye contact with the person next to him. Who cares? Like, just figure out a way to become, and the key word is bold, because we
Mm.
are authentic a lot, and that's totally true. But be the bold, authentic version,
Bold.
not a different version, right? Don't feel like, well, so and so's so loud, so I got to be loud. I'm not. I'm
Mm.
not naturally loud. That's
Mm.
okay. And if you are loud, then be loud. Like, I'm not saying one's right, one's wrong. The main thing is you just got to be you, and you got to learn to tell effective stories,
Mm.
because we all learn as we go. And then the next thing I would say is, part of your story is the part that isn't that the part that's not written yet. So I sell my future self. Now you may say, some of you that are listening, like, what do you mean sell your future self? Let's say you've been in 6 companies in the last 6 months. But I don't have any credibility. Well, sell the crap out of that. And you're like, well, how do I sell that? You know what? If they know it, they're thinking anyways, you know what? I've been in 6 companies. I've been a complete flake, and I know it. And just sell it and say, but I'm sick and tired of being a flake. You got to believe it. You got to know it. And I'm going to do whatever it takes. And my
Mm.
goal is to do X amount, because it's going to achieve the family vacations that I want and the time freedom within a year. And it may take me 2 or 3 years, but I'm willing to do whatever it takes. And I know successful people, I know success is always harder than we think it's going to be. So now I'm selling my commitment. I'm selling my future self as part of my story. And that's where too many of us, I think, get stuck. Like, just sell it. So let's say you feel like you're talking to someone that's a multi-millionaire in their traditional business, and you've never made any money. Well, sell it. Look, I know you got way more credibility than me. I know I've never made a ton of money, but I'm going to do whatever it takes, and
Mm.
sell that future commitment of what you're willing to do. And that's why I always like to say my goal is to do this in a year or 6 months or whatever. And I know it may take me 2, 3, 4 years, whatever it takes. I know success is always harder than we think it's going to be, and I'm going to do whatever it takes. That's
Yeah.
moving to people.
It really is. But I just wrote some things down, but here we go. Like this, I feel like there are so many people, healer, on your team right now that needs to hear this information. Do me a favor, go ahead and tag your team members on this video, or share this into your team chats. This is a generic training. And the reason I'm saying this is because someone in your organization, or some friend of yours that's in this industry, or even that is building anything online or building a business, needs to hear that. Needs to hear that one piece from Rob, because I'll tell you, that's that mind shift that needs to happen. You can know all the skill sets, you can close, feel like you're a follow-up queen, but if you don't have that piece, if that's missing, if you don't have that mindset tool, I truly feel like you'll go up, and then you could lose everything and not know how to get back up, right? You listen, people accidentally can get to the top, people can accidentally get to thousands and thousands of dollars a month, but what keeps you, if you go backwards to get you to go back up, is that simple mindset tool. You said, I'm selling my commitment. I'm selling my commitment. I'm selling my future self. And I have to tell you, like, before I realized that's what I was doing, when I first, like back in 2014 on social media, that's what I was doing. I was selling the person I wanted to be. I was selling that person that was living above the line. No more justification, no more, making excuses. Because same as you were sharing, like for 2 years, I didn't have success in network marketing. I was making some months $100 and I was spending 500 on events. Sometimes I was making 400, but I was spending 1,000 on other things, hotel meetings and whatever else that I was doing. Now I know that I was reinvesting into my business, reinvesting into myself. It's paid off tenfold, but I wasn't committing, and I wasn't selling my committed self, selling my future commitment, because I didn't have the commitment, period. Right? I was working it in like ebbs and flows, like up here, and then I was like over here, and then I was mad because the person I recruited quit. And so then I was complaining about it for 60 days before I decided to work it again, right? So I love that you shared that. This is like a very powerful training, y'all. I'm just gonna keep it 100 with you right now. All right. So if we're having the social media is big right now, right? Like people, what you just shared about your story and selling your future self, that should definitely come off in social media without, you don't need to jump in front of a jet airplane and pretend you're flying on it to Vegas, because don't do that, right? Don't be those, weirdos, because there are people that do that. But what would you say? They know that they have to know their story. Social media, there's so many trainers out there, or so many people or gurus that have never had success building on social media, or never had success, period, like haven't made a dollar. And, and I hate to say this, but I want to just kind of put it out there, because you are someone that's been through the trenches, you have the experience. What would you say is the number one reason, or a couple of reasons, why network marketers are failing on social media? Because they're seeing
Yeah,
these shiny pennies, right? And
yeah.
I just want to make it clear here of some of the things of why they're failing and some things they can do to find success.
Most people consume a ton, but don't take any action,
Mm-hmm.
and they don't break things down. Anyone can take anything and make it seem super advanced and complicated, but to take things and simplify complex things is much harder to do, and it doesn't
Mm-hmm.
sound as good. So sometimes we as leaders, I fell on this trap many times when I was building. You have success, and then you're trying to justify your success, and you've got a simple system, and then you create a more elaborate and more elaborate, and it looks really good, but it doesn't work. Ask any top leader that went out and crushed it and had success, and they'll tell you that they took massive action in a couple of the simple income producing activities. And that goes with a DMO for social
Mm-hmm.
media as well. So a couple different things. I mean, number one is, we always talk about, Marina talks about this, is just providing value. She's consistently showing up, providing value, whether it's in her Facebook group, whether it's on her business page, whether it's on her personal profile here. She's always giving value and content. So I made the decision about 5 or 6 years ago that I was going to make a post every single day. Now that seems laughable now, because now I'm like posting in 5 groups a day and doing on personal and business, right? But the time, that was overwhelming to me. But I made that commitment. I look back at some of those posts, they suck. I don't even know why anyone liked any of them, and not many did, trust me. I did lives, Marina, and I know there weren't lives. It was first videos and then lives, right? And I did videos where I had business in 40 plus countries. So you would have thought that I would have gotten a lot of at least courtesy likes and comments. I
No.
had 2 or 3 comments, or 8 or 9 comments. Like, you would have thought, just building a big business, they would have just been at least nice, like, hey, here's our
Yeah.
leader. But no, it
Yeah.
sucked. And I don't
And
blame them.
was it family members or team members commenting?
Mom, mother-in-law, right? I mean, there's
Yeah.
2 of
Yeah.
them. And it
Yep.
got to the point I was like trying to block some of my friends and family because they were so bad. I didn't want them to see them. Like,
Oh
no
my gosh,
joke. I'm
that's
not
so
kidding
you didn't get
there.
made fun of at the next family
Yeah, I was
event.
just like, man, this dude sucks. But I'm going to do it. So I'm just telling you that the first thing is, I kept it simple as providing value on a regular basis. Because look, whether you directly approach someone in the first conversation, third conversation, fourth, I don't really care. But if they say no, and now they see consistently, like, oh, I like Marina's content. I like what she's about. I like so-and-so's content. I like what they're about. you're bridging a gap. You're bridging a gap without trying to focus on like a million conversations with them. You don't have to have a million conversations.